When I started this channel 5 years ago, if you can believe it, there were about 3 successful channels teaching European Portuguese. And now there are dozens. YouTube itself is almost unrecognizable from those pre-COVID days, but as I was thinking about this shift and getting quite emotional, honestly, I realized that what's actually changed the most in these 5 years isn't the algorithm. It's me. And that's a good thing. And I think I'm so much better at my job now than I was when I started in my tiny home office during the first COVID lockdown. So if you've got a few minutes to spend with me for this special 5-year anniversary video, I want to talk about what these changes are and what they mean for you, somebody who wants to learn Portuguese in this new era of AI and information overload. And I actually think I'll start there because AI is having a huge impact on every industry, language teaching included. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure that some of the channels competing with me now on YouTube are entirely AI generated. I was absolutely shocked to see that there's a scam company called Learn Portuguese that's been using my image in their Instagram ad for a Portuguese workbook. We've reported them and the ad's been taken down, but it just reappears a few days later. And some of you have messaged me saying that you bought this workbook thinking it was produced by me. So this is the reality of what AI can do. It can really trick you into believing a human is behind what they've produced and say all the right things to get you to part with your money. But all they're selling at the end of the day is regurgitated information that's often incorrect or out of date, but is certainly lacking a human touch and perspective. So on one hand, of course, I'm concerned like everyone else is about where this is going to lead if a computer can produce something in minutes what might have taken a human a month. But at the same time, I know what genuine language learners crave is to learn from a real human that has been in their shoes. So those that follow me know I studied Portuguese at university and did Erasmus at Coimbra and have been living in Portugal as an expat since 2017. So I can feel their pain and relate to their journey because it was mine too. And actually, I do want to hear from you today. How long have you been following the channel and what's changed for you since then? Drop a comment because I would love to read it. So one of the reasons that I hope people stick around to watch this channel is because it's produced by me, a real person that has lived through the transition that you're going through. If you're moving here and you're worried about how you're going to fit in, how you're going to make friends, and how you're going to get over all of those logistical hurdles to set up your life. I mean, my house purchase and my wedding process, they brought me to tears on multiple occasions. So sometimes the advice I have isn't only about pronunciation and grammar hacks, but practical advice from someone who has seen and done it all here. So simply put, when it comes to your learning, you deserve better than a robot. And that really is the nugget of truth that I have come back to again and again over the last 5 years as the channel has grown and my program has grown, but also as I have grown through this really intense season that I've lived. At the same time as producing this channel, I have moved house, I've traveled the world, I got a dog, I got married, and just under 18 months ago, I gave birth to our beautiful little baby girl, Gabriella. And that's a lot to have dealt with. And while for the most part, it has been amazing, there've also been some really major challenges like navigating a really difficult pregnancy, the soul-shatteringly exhausting newborn phase, and also unexpectedly losing my dad last year. And that is when showing up as a personality week after week on the internet becomes really hard to do. And at times I have had to just dry my tears, blast Taylor Swift's I Can Do It With a Broken Heart while I do my makeup and just try my best to show up and be a good teacher. But that truth that I keep coming back to that's kept me going is that your community and your support system is the most important thing in your life. So for me, that's been my friends here, my incredible Portuguese neighbors. Isabel literally came up the stairs while Gabby was having a tantrum this weekend and just took her out to the park for an hour without me even asking. She just came in and said, "Dam kai samosa." And if you are struggling toddler mum, then you will know how precious it is to have somebody in your village just show up and do that for you when you are at breaking point. So I couldn't survive without her. My team as well is absolutely incredible. They kept Talk the Streets alive while I took maternity leave and compassionate leave, and they are all so freaking good at their jobs. Claudia does marketing and is a huge reason you actually get new videos delivered to you every week. She's always keeping me on track. Eduardo is our client success and community manager, and he co-hosts our live sessions with me, and the students absolutely adore him. Julie runs our enrollment, so she's the first person you talk to if you decide to apply for our Portuguese Pro program for beginners, and she'll help you decide if it's going to be the right fit for you and give you advice on how to move on with your Portuguese. And then my husband Mike does literally everything else behind the scenes, including metrics and numbers and finance, which are all of the things that I absolutely hate. And Gonzalo, my amazing videographer and producer, are you going to say hi? He's very shy. But there's also my students. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a rut or feeling down, and I show up to our live sessions and I get such a buzz from being with these amazing people who are so pumped to be working hard on their Portuguese, and I get to see them progress and I get to hear their stories from beginning to end. And that for me is how I've kept going for this 5 years. I think if I didn't have that personal interaction with the students, it would just feel a bit lifeless and empty for me. We actually created a whole other channel to tell student stories, and they are honestly so heartwarming, and it really brings me back to why I do this, because being able to speak the language of the country you've chosen to live in is absolutely fundamental to finding your community here. And as the stories have shown, you can really find friends for life, and that is a difference between living here and loving your life here, the way that I and my students really love our lives here. So if you've never checked out my student stories, maybe start with someone like Sharon, who relocated solo from the US to Faro and now volunteers at a Portuguese charity, goes to football matches, and has made a ton of friends. It's a really inspirational one. So this is the other important piece that I think separates what we do on this channel and in my beginners program. I've now worked with over 1,400 real people and charted their real progress, from being too scared to say their first words because they've never learnt a second language and they're so worried about how bad their accent is going to sound, all the way up to having those first triumphant mini conversations in hotels and restaurants that grow into longer interactions and real relationships with Portuguese friends. I've seen where they struggle. My team and I have built out so many bespoke lessons and resources to help them on their journey to being conversational, and we have so much fun along the way. And the proof really is in the pudding of how many of them have completed their final challenge of submitting a 10-minute conversation with a native speaker to us and qualifying for their graduation gift, a So Pro mug, which they all get so excited about. I've never seen a bunch of adults lose their minds over a mug before, but they love it, and I love to see it. So everyone who got to this point started in my free lesson for beginners. So if you've got this far through the video, you still haven't taken it and you want to see how fun and easy it can be to get conversational in Portuguese, you just got to visit the link in the description. Also, completely brand new information. At the end of last year, we took things one step further with some of our star students over the years, and we hosted a pilot intermediate course and immersion experience in the north of Portugal, where we had a 3-day itinerary of eating, exploring, and a lot of speaking Portuguese. So we're still refining the concept of how this will work in the future, but I can't wait to show you the full behind the scenes of that experience. It was so special to be all together in person, and it's one of my favorite moments from the last 5 years. So that's my truth. 5 years on, we are not going anywhere. We're going to continue to do what we do best, which is bring you practical Portuguese in plain English for free here on YouTube every week to get you navigating your day-to-day life with more confidence, and keep delivering the most unique and successful online program for beginners that is out there. So whether you're a subscriber or a student or thinking about making the transition between the two, thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me do what I do, because without your eyeballs, I wouldn't have anyone to teach every week. So I am forever grateful, and I will be back next week.